everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to Travel and Live Free. In this video, we're gonna cover my country number 29 to visit every single country in the world, and that country is China. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to go to China during my one-year trip around the world was because I wanted to see the Great Wall of China, which is one of the 7 new wonders of the world. When I went to China, I decided to go through the 72-hour visa-free rule. And this turned out to be a bad decision because I was stuck in immigration for so long. They were asking me so many questions just because of the 72-hour visa-free rule. After I got through immigration finally, I asked for directions how I can go to my hostel, and eventually I got myself a taxi. Now, the taxi driver tried scamming me at first. They tried charging me $90 US to go to my hostel. However, I don't know where it came from, but I started speaking a little bit of Mandarin, which I learned when I was going to college, and I took a Mandarin class. I also took some Mandarin courses when I was a kid, and somehow all those Mandarin classes, they resurfaced back and I was able to speak a little bit of Mandarin. Even though I'm Chinese, I can't speak Chinese. But at this moment, my inner Chinese came out and I was able to speak Mandarin to this taxi driver. And long story short, after speaking a little bit of Mandarin to him, he changed the price from $90 US to go to my hostel to $30 US, and he even gave me a receipt, which is mind-blowing. So I guess when you travel in China, it definitely helps to know a little bit of Mandarin, otherwise you're gonna get scammed by the taxi drivers. The hostel I stayed at in China wasn't very good. My bed was right beside the toilet, and the toilet smelled dank. So it's definitely not one of the best hostel experience. Now, the people in the hostel were pretty friendly. I made friends with this one guy from China who told me about what he was studying in China, and that was pretty neat to get to know some of the locals. The next day, I decided I was gonna go to the Badaling Great Wall of China, and I took a bus to go there, and it wasn't too bad of a process. It took me 1 hour to take the bus there, bought some water in the bus, and the Great Wall of China was freezing when I went there because I went to China back in February of 2017. And hiking the Great Wall of China is actually pretty hard, and it's a little bit sketchy too because it's a winding path that goes up and down, and some paths are really steep and you can easily fall and get hurt. Now, the rumors are true that there's a huge amount of tourists that go to the Great Wall of China, and most of these tourists are actually local Chinese people tourists. I saw maybe one foreigner when I went to the Great Wall of China. Now, even though the Great Wall of China is jam-packed with people, the longer you hike, the less and less people there will be. Eventually, you get to the point where you are the only one by yourself and you can take a nice picture without anyone getting in the way of your photos. So I'm about 6 months in my one-year trip now, and honestly, I spent more money than I would like to admit. It's probably because I was traveling so fast, and when you travel fast, things add up, you know, like taxis and I mean, accommodation is pretty much similar in all places if you're staying in hostels, but it's definitely the taxis that add up, and when you're going to tourist attractions, those also adds up. And also, if you stay in one place longer, then chances are you'll get familiar with the city that you're in, and you'll know where to buy stuff for a good deal. While if you're bouncing around like I am, then you never know where the optimal place is to purchase your food and stuff, so it's gonna cost you a lot more. I have no regrets though, because I got to see a lot of cool places. As you can see right now, this is the Great Wall of China, and what an ironic place to
film my 6 months in my 1-year trip video because I'm Chinese and I've never been to China before. So in a way, I'm back to my ancestral homeland, which I think is quite cool. People in China are actually quite nice. It's not what the media would kind of paint them as kind of like rude. I mean, they are, like, a lot of them are rude, but a lot of them are also not. So I mean, they're just like everyone else. Like if you go to North America, there's people who are rude and there's people who are not. So there's just so many Chinese people that the amount of rude people you'll meet is so much, just like the amount of nice people you'll meet is also so much. Anyways, I'm gonna go head back now. I've been hiking the Great Wall now for 2 hours. And lesson learned, keep walking, because if you walk far enough, you're gonna get to a point where I am right now and there's no one here and you get the whole place to yourself and you take some awesome pictures. Anyways, got 6 months left in my 1-year trip and looking forward to see what's in store for me next. One thing I forgot to mention is that if you go to the Great Wall of China during weekdays and non-peak season, so non-peak season is pretty much winter. If you go between, I believe, January to March, there's not as much people and the prices are a little bit cheaper, and also it's crowd free. As you can see right now, there's no one here in this area of the Great Wall. I mean, there's a lot of people if I keep going, because that's where all the crowds are hanging out. But as long as you don't go on a weekend and during peak season, you can actually enjoy the Great Wall of China without a lot of crowd. And I'm in the Badaling Great Wall section, which is actually the busiest of all the Great Wall areas in China. So even the busiest Great Wall can be not busy if you don't go during peak season, and if you go during weekday, and also if you go in the morning, because I went bright and early. I took the first bus. I think it was at 7 a.m. and it was definitely a good decision. The bus cost me, I think, 12 yuan, and the ticket to the Great Wall, I think, was 40 yuan. And overall, yeah, awesome place, love it. This is my third 7 wonder of the world now, or fourth if you want to add the pyramids of Giza in it. So I've been to Taj Mahal, Great Wall, Pyramids of Giza, and Chichen Itza. So as of making this video, I'm still missing Cristo Redentor in Brazil. I'm missing also the Machu Picchu in Peru and the Colosseum in Rome. Alright then.
Now there's a lot of scammers in the Great Wall of China. I got price gouged when I tried to buy food in the Great Wall of China. There's a lot of animal cruelty too, because I saw some bears that was performing circus acts and they were begging for food, and you can tell that these bears were abused by the locals. As the day went by, it started getting warmer, which is good because it was freezing in Beijing, and I went back to the city and I started exploring Tiananmen Square. So to get to Tiananmen Square, I took a combination of local buses and also the subway, and it wasn't too bad of a process. Tiananmen Square is quite neat, it's very historic, definitely a must-see when you go to China. But one of the things that left me choked when I went to Beijing was that when I went to the Forbidden Palace, it was that one day of the week where it was closed. So I didn't get to go inside the Forbidden Palace, which made me really sad. I'd like to go back to China again one day and see all those other places, but maybe not anytime soon because there's a lot of crazy stuff happening there right now. Now, I didn't want to get in trouble, so I left exactly right under 72 hours of staying in Beijing, China. and my next destination was Indonesia. Overall, I had a great time in Beijing, China, and I think the Great Wall of China is definitely an underrated tourist destination. Anyways, that's about it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments below, and don't forget to sign up to the Travel Live Free newsletter, where you can get a 10-step cheat sheet on how to travel around the world. You'll also get the latest tips and strategies on how to save money on travel for Canadians, how to go on around the world travel for Canadians, and how to use travel to get more freedom in your life as a Canadian. You can sign up for the newsletter in the description below. Until next time, I'll see you then.